Something Sweet is back in the kitchen. It's still the day before Thanksgiving and we are cooking away. What's your most traditional Thanksgiving dessert? I made a carrot cake, and usually I make a pecan pie because it's my sister's birthday and that's her favorite dessert, but not this year. I am not making a traditional Thanksgiving dessert because my son and his wife have requested something that they like a lot, and that's my homemade banana pudding. So I'm gonna make the custard for that right now, and then we will put it in the refrigerator so it'll be nice and chilled, and we can assemble the pudding probably in the morning because it's better if it's eaten that same day. So, but we're gonna get the custard made. Let's talk about what we need to make this custard. I'm doubling the recipe because we don't make a little bit of banana pudding in our family. It takes a little bit. So we have 2 cups of granulated sugar and 6 eggs. In this recipe, it's not so important to have everything at room temperature because we're going to be cooking it anyway. We're going to use 4 tablespoons of cornstarch, a pinch of salt, and 4 cups. I'm using whole milk. You could probably use half and half. You could probably use skim or 2%, but I prefer whole, so we're going to use that. We'll add some vanilla at the end after it's thickened. So we're going to start out by putting our sugar. Oh, let me show you this. Look at this pan. It says Emerald Lagasse on the bottom. I was at a flea market and I was walking along and I saw this cookware. There were several pieces of it, and the cook in me stopped and picked it up. I mean, this is like some people want a diamond. I love this pot. And I walked past it and I went around and I came back by and I was looking at it again. And the man that was there said, "Are you interested?" And I said, "Well, you know, probably not. I have more cookware than I know what to do with." And he said, "I'll sell you the whole amount of it for 20 bucks. There was this, there's several other pieces. Emerald Lagasse and Wolfgang Puck, really nice, heavy stainless steel. I said, "Here's my 20 bucks. I'm taking this home with me." This has been so wonderful. The sides are very heavy. The bottom is heavy. Bottom stuff doesn't burn in it. I was tickled to death to get it. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to use our Emerald Lagasse pan. We're going to pour our sugar in. Before I pour these eggs in, I'm going to whisk them up just a little bit, break up the yolks. You wouldn't have to do this, but it just makes it easier when we get ready to mix it in the pot. Oh, there we go. We got that. I think the people at the grocery store think I must be getting a monopoly on the egg market because I just keep buying more eggs. But I have to have eggs for everything. The cakes all took eggs, this pudding takes eggs, the sweet potato casserole takes eggs, and the dressing takes a lot of eggs. So we'll talk about that again either later this afternoon or in the morning, because we'll be making that then. All right, let's pour these eggs in. We'll make sure we get them all in there. And we will mix that together just till it's combined.
I just noticed that
What?
the microphone's not on.
Thing's not stuck in the bottom of the phone. This video's messed up a little bit, but that's okay. We had a microphone issue, but I think the sound is back now. So we'll see how it goes. The first part is I said a whole lot of things. I hate you missed that. I'll go back and put some sound over. Right now, all we've done is we've got the sugar and the eggs in this pot, and we've got them mixed together really, really well. We want to make sure they're completely combined. We've got those eggs beaten. We've got some sugar in the corner. Emerald Lagasse pan, I talked about that. I talked about so many things. I said good stuff. Now it's not on there. Okay, we'll do it another time. All right, let's get this whisk out of here. We're going to add a dash of salt, another little bit, a dash of salt. We're going to add 4 tablespoons of cornstarch. That's going to be our thickening agent. Make sure cornstarch is about the most powdery, hard to deal with substance, but it does good stuff in what you cook. And I'm going to stir that in, and then we're going to add the milk. Turn this on. There. All right, we have 4 cups of milk, and we're going to add this in. Oh, well, we're going to pour it in the floor. See what kind of mess we can possibly make. This has to be stirred constantly, and it will take 10 or 12, maybe even 15 minutes. Let me go back over and tell you about this cookware again. You see this nice saucepan? It's Emerald Lagasse. I was at a flea market and walking around, and I saw about 8 or 9 pieces of stainless steel cookware. Well, that attracts this baker cooker heart, and so I stopped and looked at it, and I walked on because my daughter has told me I can't bring anything else home unless I plan to get rid of something because we don't have any more space, but I don't always listen to her. So I walked on around, I left it sitting there, and so happened that I came back by that same booth and it was still sitting there. And I picked it up. That's when I realized it was Wolfgang Puck and Emerald Lagasse. Nice, heavy stainless steel cookware. And I'm standing there looking at it, and the man in the booth said, "Are you interested?" And I said, "No, I have more cookware than I know what to do with." And I think there were 8 or 9 pieces. And he said, "I can give you all of it for $20." And I said, "Here's my $20. I'm taking this home with me." So I came home with it. Even my daughter didn't make me get rid of it. It's such nice cookware. It's wonderful. I probably never would have paid full price for it, but man, I'm really tickled that I have it. So it's going to take a while for this to cook. There's no reason for us to hang out here together while that happens. So I'm going to stop, and I'll bring you back when it starts to thicken. You'll see what it looks like. The pudding is getting thick. You can see I've been stirring it constantly, and it's starting to thicken. It's definitely a judgment call when it's thick enough. So you keep stirring. I always stir till I think it's a little bit too thick, because otherwise I'm apt to take it off too soon. So I want it to get good and thick. Once it's to the thickness that I want it, I'll take it off the heat. I'll add the vanilla. Remember, we don't add the vanilla to something we're cooking because the flavor will cook away. So we will add it when we're finished cooking it. We're going to pour it up into a bowl, and we're going to take saran wrap and put it all the way down on the surface, because if we don't, it will form a skin on top of this custard, and we don't want that. It's almost there. Can you see how thick that is? It's getting really, really, really close. You can see a trail when the spoon goes through it. It's not bubbling in the boiling as much as it was. We don't want to scorch it. I've got it turned down pretty low. Just going to let it cook another couple of minutes. When I take it off, I'm going to add vanilla. I think it's 2 teaspoons, or my measurement. I'll pour some in, and then I'll pour it in the bowl and show it to you when we've gotten that done. All right, I've taken it off the heat, and it's nice and thick. Sabrina and I were just saying we thought we could eat it with a spoon. It might make us really sick, but we would sure enjoy the process. We've added the vanilla in. We're going to stir that in really well. You know, this reminds me of a family memory. My mother-in-law, she was like a mother to me in a lot of ways, Granny Freeman. She made banana pudding like this a lot of times for Sunday dinner. And we would be there for the weekend. We were young, married kids. We would be there for the weekend. And I would wake up on Sunday morning and this was cooking on the stove. And when she got ready to put together the pudding, she would always save a little bowl for me because she knew I liked the pudding before you put the bananas and stuff in. I like it with it too. But I enjoyed it, just a bowl of that pudding. And she always remembered that. And she would leave me a little bowl before she put it in the refrigerator. We've added in the vanilla. We're going to pick this up and we're going to pour it in this bowl. Be sure it's heat safe. Oh, look at that bowl of pudding. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. We're going to let this cool for just a little while on the counter before we put it in the refrigerator. Just kind of let it come to room temperature. Now we're going to take this plastic wrap and we're going to pull it over here. I have a love-hate relationship with plastic wrap. It doesn't always do what I want it to do, but we're going to loosen it up here and let it fall down to where it's touching all the way around on this pudding. We don't want there to be a film anywhere on this. There we go. Now we're going to let this cool a little while on the counter and we're going to put it in the refrigerator. So when we get ready to put this pudding together in the morning, it'll be nice and cold. And we'll go through and put in the vanilla wafers and the bananas and we'll whip some real whipped cream to go on top. And it'll be a wonderful dessert for our Thanksgiving feast. So we'll finish this in the morning. See you then. We're going to continue making this banana pudding. Remember yesterday we made this custard. Look at that. Is that not? Oh, look at that. I really would love to just eat it, but I'm not. So we've got the custard made. We're going to use that custard layered with vanilla wafers. That's the only brand I use. I don't even think they're as good as they used to be, but they're still really good. So I'll be using those and ripe bananas. I've laid out 4. I'm not sure as I layer this exactly what we're going to need and how much we're going to use. So we'll see. I'm going to layer it in this bowl. If I were using a clear sided bowl, this is really pretty in a trifle, but I'm not going to do that today so that you can see the layers coming up. Then I would be really careful about how I place the cookies so that you could see them from the outside and it'd be really pretty. But this bowl, even though it's beautiful on its own, Pioneer Woman, is what I'm going to make it in today, and you won't be able to see that. You won't be able to see the layers, but we'll know they're there. The first thing we're going to do is just put some custard in the bottom, just like that. Spread that around. Want there to be some of every component in every bowl full. We don't want to miss any. All right, so I'm going to do that. I'll just do one more little spoonful. Looks so good. I am going to, because I'll know how it's put in there, whether you can see it or not. Another thing you can ask, if I want it done a certain way, you might as well just do it because it won't make me very happy if you don't. So I'm going to put these vanilla wafers, I'm going to stand them up around the outside like that. Takes a few minutes, but it looks pretty. Put those all around, put the baked side against the side of the dish, and it just makes a pretty little ring. All right, so it made a little nest so that we can come back now and put bananas. I'm going to peel these. These are just about the right ripeness. I don't want them so soft that they don't slice very well, but I don't want them green either. So these are just about right. Fairly thick. Oh, lost one. Fairly thick slices of banana. Like that little end. Put it over there. And then we'll just scatter these on the custard. Now, back in Alabama, we never had a banana custard. It was banana pudding, and it didn't have a G on the end either. It was banana pudding. My mother made banana pudding differently. Well, a lot like this, but at the end of her banana pudding, she made a meringue and put it in the oven, so it was warm when you got through. Ready for another family story? This one could get me arrested. Uh, I was visiting my mother, and the only person with me was my youngest Benjamin, and he was uh, sevenish, not into healthy eating at all. And I have to confess, I had not enforced cleaning your plate and eat all your vegetables before dessert, any of that. He was our third and youngest, and you know, a lot of things he was allowed to do that the older ones didn't get by with. So we're there. Mother had cooked dinner, and it included squash and green beans and all those things that Benjamin would not eat. Uh, so it came time for dinner, and he sat at the table and he nibbled on the parts that he would eat, and he really didn't eat a lot. He really didn't eat a lot of it of the dinner. But when the banana pudding came out, he was all about that, right? He wanted his banana pudding. Well, my mother, being my mother, didn't think he should be allowed to have any banana pudding since he had not eaten the squash. Well, without saying he belongs to me, not you, I convinced her that it would be okay for him to have a serving of banana pudding. So he did and thoroughly enjoyed it and declared he wanted another helping. That's when Nanny put her foot down. She said, no, he cannot have more banana pudding. He didn't eat his dinner and he already had banana pudding. And my child, who was a very compliant little guy, proceeded to have a fit. I mean, just have a screaming fit. He wanted more banana pudding. So I had my mother, who was definitely, she had made up her mind, and my son, who definitely had made up his mind, at odds with each other. Well, we went on and on. He cried, no relenting. Finally, this is the part that could get me arrested. I spanked his little bottom and put him to bed. I'm a little bit ashamed of that now as an old lady, but I wasn't then. I was so frustrated. I spanked him and put him to bed. And I went back out in the living room to sit with my mother, very, very proud of the fact that I had been a stern mom and had done what I said I was going to do. I hear from the bedroom this little voice, Mama, come here. Mama, come here. So I got up and went in there and sat down on the edge of the bed, tears still streaming down that little face. And he said, you abused me. And I said, no, I didn't. But I could if you need me to show you the difference. And he said, oh no, he was fine and he went to sleep. He's 40 years old now, but when we talk about that, he always says, that was not what I was expecting. I was expecting you to get down and beg me not to call the authorities and tattle on you for being mean to me. A moment in his childhood that we'll never forget. All right, I'm going to finish layering this banana pudding. We're going to make some really nice whipped cream to go on top, and I'll bring you back and show you what it looks like when it's all finished. We're almost done with the banana pudding. We have it all layered. We've got the cookies around the top, and all of that is put together. Now we have to put the crown on it, and we're going to use some really nice whipped cream. I have some, I'm using a metal bowl. It's even better if you put that bowl in the refrigerator or the freezer and get it really cold, but I didn't do that this morning. You can measure a cup of heavy cream, or you can do this. Just pour some in. Can you have too much whipped cream? Somehow I don't think you can. Didn't get out my stand mixer for this. I'm going to use my hand mixer. I'll whip it just a little bit, and then I'm going to add. You don't have to add any sugar at all, but it's Thanksgiving, so we're going to add a little bit of confectioner sugar to this as we start to whip it. We will whip it to nice soft peaks. If you whip it too long, guess what? You'll have butter. We don't want butter on top of here. So we're just going to whip it to nice soft peaks. I'll bring you back when we get there and show you how we put it on. And I think we're going to crumble up a few vanilla wafers to crumble on top so that it'll look really pretty. Thank you, Sabrina, for a great suggestion. See you back in a minute. We've got our cream whipped. It's in nice soft peaks. We're going to put dollops of it on here so we can spread it around without messing up the pudding, custard. I'm going to leave just a little bit of this. I put the sugar in there for several reasons. One, because we like it sweet. Put a little vanilla in too. But the other thing is it stabilizes the whipped cream a little bit so that it doesn't start to get runny as much. It still will, but it's not going to be around long enough to get too runny. I think it's going to be all right because we're going to have it today. Let's see if we can get this spread around. I don't want to mix it with my pudding. However, I have a really, really good friend, and she does mix her whipped cream with her pudding, and it makes it a whole different consistency. Just another. That's going in my coffee, maybe in a minute. Makes it really, really good. You ever been to? I don't go to Starbucks very much. I used to go to Starbucks almost every day when I was working, but I don't do that anymore. There's not one close by. I don't have the extra $5 to spend like I did when I was working, so I don't go there. I don't go there as often. But if you go there and you ask for a latte breve, they make it with half and half. Not very good for your diet, but extremely, extremely tasty. I just kind of swirled it around on top a little bit so that it looks sort of decorative. And then we've got our vanilla wafer crumbs. And we're just going to sprinkle them on. Ah, that is so beautiful. I'm very, very happy. We're going to have to be super careful when we cover this to go into the refrigerator, but look at that. Does that not look delicious? It's not pumpkin pie. It's not pecan pie, but it's what my family wants for dessert for Thanksgiving. So we'll see if there's any left at the end of the day.